Hello, we are back and we are looking forward to our second episode of our Road to Cheltenham series. And what a weekend we have just witnessed. And we've got two guys who are right in the thick of the action as well, because we had Frankie at Ascot, we had Joel at Haydock. So we'll have a little bit maybe of insight and a few tidbits from off the course to look forward to. But we want to talk about the Gold Cup. Got some big trials this weekend. The Champion Hurdle, of course. We saw Statement, we've got Constitution Hill back as well. And some interesting novice performances we've had over the last few days. I'll start with you, Joel. You were at Haydock. What was it like there on Saturday?
Brilliant. It was proper national hunt crowd. It's so different to being there, during the flat season. There wasn't a best dressed lady competition in sight. There wasn't win a car. It was just proper national hunt racing fans who know their stuff. So there's no point patronising them. It was a brilliant day and a couple of winners. Frankie napped there, which was fantastic. I put up Royal Pagaille. There was money for just before the off. And the funniest bit about it was, I've never spoken to Venetia Williams. I've never met her. She was standing there with three fellas, and I presume they'll be part of her connections or whoever it was, or somebody representing Rich Ritchie. It was just three very drunk scousers, and she stood there and watched the race with them and was chatting away. And it was brilliant to see. So different, flat to National Hunt. But we have found the winner of the Champion Hurdle, and that is Equinox. All right, you've heard it here first.
He's got everything in. He could win the boat race as well. Frankie, you at Ascot, what was the crowd like there? And of course, there was a lot of drama on Saturday.
Yeah, I wasn't at Ascot on Saturday. That was at my brother's wedding. But I did have I thought it would be taking the mick a bit much to have the race up during his speech, because my brother selfishly decided to do his speech during the Betfair. Just slyly put the live odds on the table and keep one eye on it, and it was an emotional moment, let's say, as Bravemansgame got beat and my brother gave a wonderful speech. I was at Ascot on Friday though. I was really impressed with Doddy the Great, who's come back from like a 700 plus day break and injury. So irrespective of the break, I think he was very good and beat some good horses anyway. So he's one to have a look out for. And one to not back next time. Hopefully I don't get this wrong, but Your Darling won by about 10 lengths. And Pauling said this last year at Kempton. He was like, I don't know what to do with this horse because it wins fresh and then it does nothing for the rest of the season. So I think he's giving that a break and going to Aintree next. But it's a head scratcher of a horse to back, so I'm staying away.
Yeah, I'd already noted that. Obviously, is one. You just have to catch fresh, and then you take him on for the rest of the season. But Ben Pauling's cotton onto it then, and we won't see him for a while, maybe. But we're going to talk about the Gold Cup, because obviously we had the reigning champion, Galopin des Champs, beat. We had the second Bravemansgame, beat. We had Protectorat trying to retain his Betfair Chase crown, beat. What's going to win the Gold Cup this year? Nothing wants to. I was going to talk about a stat as well, which I've actually seen floated around on social media. It's an incredible one. How hard it is to win a Gold Cup. How hard it is to win after a Gold Cup. How much it takes out of a horse. Since 2009, of all the horses that have won a Gold Cup, they've run 100 times and they've won 23 races between them. 5 of those were for the Great Corto Star as well. So we've had no winners come out last year's renewal. Yes, we have Royal Pagaille, of course, come out and won the Betfair Chase. But it goes to show how much it does take out of a horse. But Joel, does it really look like the 2023 renewal wasn't all that now?
Yeah, I think it's, when you look back, it looks like the best mate race, doesn't it? When it was being Harbour Pilot and Sir Rembrandt and stuff like that. It doesn't look all that. And again, I'm loath to back Jerry Colombe now. Do we write Galopin des Champs off for being beaten twice now by Fast or Slow? Fast or Slow, I heard JJ Slevin talking on the radio this morning, and he's very laid back, as is the trainer. We knew we got a nice one there, but we didn't know he was this good. I thought the trip might have been wrong, but no, we're there with a live chance now. So looking through everything now, I pulled up the prices this morning. Bravemansgame's in there. I mean, that's not the target, is it? It's definitely King George, if we can get him right. If today I'm forced, I'm going to have to be a proper turncoat here and go with Fast or Slow. Just looking at some of the stats this morning, it's always about being on the progressive horse, isn't it? The ones you know least about, the ones on the way up. And we thought it was a fluke at the end of last season. Wasn't a fluke at the weekend. Galopin des Champs, you were saying about the Gold Cup taking a lot out of them. Normally, you press the button and it's whoosh. And, many people have said it's one of the best winners visually of the past, 20 years. But when you look back, was it really? So today, and obviously it's been backed, Fast or Slow, I think If it was tomorrow, I'd be taking the money on that.
Yeah, we're 11-4 Galopin Des Champs, 4-1 Jerry Colombe, and 6-1 Fast or Slow. Now, Shishkin, we may see him at the weekend, of course. Surprise entry at Newcastle, 12-1. We'll talk about him in a moment. 14's Bravemansgame. And obviously, you've got Raw Pagaille, his stablemate, Le Homme Presse, is next in at 16-1. But yes, it was 2.5 miles Galopin Des Champs, Frankie. But I'm not sure if Paul Tanner ever looked happy. And his jumping was a bit scrappy as well, I thought.
Yeah, I think if you could make an angle for Galopin Des Champs, Willie does have the arsenal of horses to leave him a bit undercooked and have Appreciate It, for example, trained more for the race that's just gone at the weekend. And Appreciate did take a bit of money. And I know that a few of the Mullins horses have been said to need the run. So with that many horses in your yard and with the Gold Cup the sole target, I think you could make a case that he wasn't quite fit and others in the stable would have been better prepared for the race at the weekend. So he didn't look his best, but does he need to? We're so far away from the Gold Cup, and that's got to just be the sole goal of the year, I think.
It does. You'd like to see him probably a little bit more, personally. What about Shishkin then? Obviously, we will talk about him, obviously blotting his copybook. I mean, we kind of did call him Mercurial. We can certainly call him Mercurial though now, Frankie.
Yeah, I'm convinced there will be one day when he wins a big race and nobody will be on and it'll be a nightmare for punters, but it'll be brilliant TV. Nicky will be probably in tears. Nicky will come bouncing back in. He's probably won by 5 lengths because he is a seriously good horse. But when he does that and how he does that and in what race he does that is all up for questions, isn't it? I mean, now really, if you wanted to back him probably for the King George, because that's the one thing I think that Nicky has been pretty certain about, hasn't it, all year, is that we are going to go to the King George. So if there was one race you were trying to pin him down to and back him at the right time, you'd probably have to take your chances now before he hopefully runs at the weekend. But he is a complete head scratcher. I do think he's got a big race in him, and I guess, like I said, that's the one race we know they're targeting. So if you're brave enough, have a few quid up for the King George.
And Joe, you actually pointed out he's got first-time cheap pieces on at Ascot the other day. I thought that might have been because of the way he jumped left-handed there in the Clarence House, but maybe there's a further issue.
Well, he's barking now. I can hear him barking in the background. I mean, Nicky said he was a bit grumpy. I mean, Nicky was a bit grumpy. Paul Nichols was a bit grumpy at the weekend. Every bugger was a bit grumpy this weekend, apart from Venetia. Dan Skelton was a bit grumpy. I mean, you know, you watch it back, and I came back from Haydock, and I watched it back on the TV, and Mick Fitz said, the cheap piece of work, you know, he's got down to the start there, and as soon as he got down the start, he just didn't fancy it. I mean, to be honest, just looking at this, the cross-country is going to be fantastic this year, isn't it? It's going to be best race on card at Cheltenham. The one thing for me, and I don't know if either of you two lads have noticed this, because I haven't seen anybody on Twitter point it out, or anybody, to be fair, any of the top journalists, what has happened to the fella who stands behind him and either's got a hood in his hand, swishing it around, or a tea towel, or whatever it is, or one of the big circus whips, and he's going around like that to get him off? Where was he at the weekend at Ascot? Was he having a pint with Frankie?
I tell you, Joel, I wouldn't know. He certainly wasn't having a pint with me, but yeah, whoever replaced him doing a bit of this didn't get the job done either, did they?
And I suppose we've got to talk about Bravemansgame as well, because he's been at Wetherby. Was it maybe a better performance at Haydock? I mean, his jumping was as good as ever. He's just, I don't know, what is it? Does he just fall a little bit shy? I know he's won a King George. Again, that'll be the target. But that'll be his third run of the season by the time we get to Kempton, Frankie.
Yeah, I can't have him. I really can't be backing him from this point onwards. He just, I mean, the way he's performed goes hand in hand with your stat that you brought up earlier, Matt. He does look classy on the way round. We know he's a brilliant jumper. He travels well. He probably shortens up in play, and everyone thinks, here we go, he's going to be back again. And when push comes to shove, he just hasn't been tough, has he? He's jumped brilliant and done everything right, bar, you know, from the last 2 or even the last fence onwards. He hasn't looked like he wants to battle at all. And that could be as a result of a hard Gold Cup.
And Joe, we mentioned Roll Pagaille, of course, for the weekend. Julia Blige, I thought Charlie Deutsch gave a fantastic ride, attacking down the back straight exactly the right time. He's been to the Gold Cup before. He's failed. Does Venetia have a better chance with Le Homme Presse?
Yeah, I would have said so. A couple of people asked her at the weekend if they was going to the Grand National or Gold Cup or whatever, and she was very much like, this was the target today. And there was a bit of money for the horse, wasn't there, as well? I mean, I know it's a much bigger price earlier in the week, but it went off for, what, 5-6 to 1 or something like that, which was nice. There was so many rumours around Haydock at the weekend. Daryl Jacob was in a position where he's going to get slated either way. If he wins, it's just the best horse on Bravemansgame. If he doesn't, he's given it a shocker, and Harry was right to go for 4 rides at Ascot. Look, there on the day, first of all, Dan Skelton was asked, will your horse win? And he says yes. He was adamant about that. That horse will win. There was weird vibes in the weird market about Bravemansgame, because there were rumours that he's only coming here because of the sponsors. Because otherwise, you got 3 run a race for a big pot of money sponsorship day. So there was that, and everybody was just sitting around. I mean, I joked on the in-house telly that I would have the big forecast of the day was going to be Roll Pagaille to beat Corrupt Rambler. And I wasn't too far away, to be honest. I mean, that would have returned really nicely, wouldn't it? The top 2 out the market. I just thought it was a really strange place to go. Really strange place to go. Come to this. Why not just go straight to the King George and then on to the Gold Cup if you want? It was a weird one. I don't know. And for me, it's a rumour mill. But, the sponsor may have given him the cash to go there or said you must go there. Don't know.
Right here, right now. 3-5 on the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Frankie, what are you doing?
Oh. Galopin de Champs. If you ever want to back him, now's the time. They'll probably go to the Dublin Race Festival, and if he goes and wins the 3 mile, is it the Irish Gold Cup there? Then he'll be shorter again, even shorter. So if there was ever a time to back him, it's now, because we're that far away from the festival. He might have just needed the run, and also needs to go up and trip again.
Same question, Joel.
My question to you: is it a real fiver or is it a fantasy fiver? If it's a real fiver, I'm going fast or slow.
And what if it was a fantasy fiver? Monkfish.
What's it gone? What's that? Melon. Come back. Give me 2,000 on. Come back from retirement. Flies up the hill.
It's got to be Jerry Colombo. I think he's sat in his box, and all of a sudden he's thrust right into the middle of stardom. Really, he's 4 to 1 second favourite. He's the one who's done nothing. I know Fast or Slow has won, but he's coming from a handicap company. I just think Jerry Colombo, as we sit here, may be the one, but a lot of time to go until then. Right, champion hurdle time. State Man, what did he achieve at the weekend, Frankie?
He's picking up pieces on the way around until he faces Constitution Hill, really. Running as many races as he can, pick up as many grade 1s as he can over in Ireland before he takes on Constitution Hill. He was good. We know he's good. He's very quick, isn't he? Doesn't jump as efficiently as Constitution Hill. He's not as brilliant to watch, but he did his job, basically. Keep winning those Willies. Keep him over there, because he'll never come and beat Constitution Hill.
Yeah, other than being alive and well, Joel, not sure we learned much more than what we already know.
Definitely improved, very good. As Frankie said, doesn't flick its hurdles. I think I'm just waiting now for Imperial Pass to come out on Sunday. And then by this time next week, we'll have seen the top 3 there and see if Frankie's still slipping off his chair for Constitution Hill.
There is that. Look, he's going to, he probably will win on Saturday, but he's going to face a really tougher test than what we thought. Love Envoi and You Wear It Well are entered, so hopefully it'll be a real decent renewal, and we'll get to see him obviously put in one of those amazing performances. Joel.
And Pied Piper jumps like a pig. Next.
Right. Champion Chase, just a quick one. I just want to mention Boot Hill, who may be going for the Tingle Creek to take on John Bon. A big weight he carried at Ascot. Is he a viable big price outsider for the Champion Chase? If El Fabio and John Bon turn up, something's got to come third, Joel.
Yeah. I mean, you look at this, and again, visually impressive. The last two wins on the improve. I could put you off. Sorry, I couldn't put you off. To get a place and look around for those enhanced places. I wouldn't be touching it now. But no, I mean, it was something that I didn't really concentrate on the weekend, so I'll shut up and see what Frankie says. But no, I was visually impressed, and like you say, I know you like going for these bigger outsiders to try and get a place, and I wouldn't put you off. It's not taking my money at the minute, though.
No, I mean, we don't know what would have been if Santigel had stood up at the last, but, I say it was a big, big weight he was giving away. And now they are looking at Sandown and maybe taking on John Bunn in a couple of weeks, Frankie.
Yeah, I couldn't have him for the festival. He has been a brilliant horse for Harry Fry, and he's getting better and better, and they've picked up plenty of victories along the way. But I think he's hit his ceiling, really. I don't think he can now go into that top tier. A top weight in a handicap was a great performance, but as you said, if there hadn't been a faller, who knows if he would have won. And he was getting chased home. I don't think it was super impressive, and I don't think it was the best quality of handicap. So he obviously had to carry top weight, but I'm not sure what was in behind was too good or good enough to warrant him being a grade 1 champion chase contender. I couldn't have him for the festival at all.
Right, let's talk about novice chase then, because this is a really interesting one. We'll talk about Grey Dawning shortly. Frankie napped for the weekend, absolutely bolted up. But Gaelic Warrior, okay, everyone waxing absolutely lyrical about his jumping debut. He won by half the track. But for me, he was allowed to, Joel. He went off, he was with a stable companion, then he just went further and further clear, and nothing came out to chase him. It was a race, it was disappointing, but, there's nothing wrong with him. He can't do anything about that, can he? Just go out and jump. Okay, he can certainly patch that up a bit.
Come on.
But, he's defences, Joel.
Can I probably be controversial here and say, so far, the novice performance of the season for me? I know Matt probably won't agree. Frankie will be somewhere on the fence. Total nutter. Jumped right. I don't think. I've never ridden a racehorse in a race. Surprisingly, I'll be carrying the overweight. I'm sure you haven't either, Matt. But I don't think Paul could hang on to him after 3. He was just off. It scares me a little bit. Just the way that it jumps right. 4-1 for the Turners. I think this is so talented. And listen to Willie Mullins afterwards saying that it definitely won't be Galopin trip. He just did loads wrong, and over that 2 mile 3, and pretty much won on the bridle as he liked. The rest of them behind, I don't really know what they were doing. But yeah, for me, I watched it back a few times and God, this is a mentalist, but it's super talented. And if there's a horse in training at the minute that I would like to own, I think it would be Gaelic Warrior over all your other ones.
I'm guessing that Frankie agrees then by that little noise he made as we were talking about. And that's my point. He was allowed to. He was allowed to, and they were never going to get anywhere near him. But yeah, and as he said, not going up in trip. Would it be the Arkle then? I mean, he is entertaining.
Turner's probably, I'd imagine. But yeah, I was impressed. I'm in the same camp as Joel. I don't think the weekend needed to be a test of how far he won. It was a test of if he could jump, because he came second in the Ballymore in Perry Pass, and then he won, I know, over 3 miles, but Punchestown after, wasn't it? So he's won those top level races as a hurdler. We know he's got a serious engine. We know he's quick. I don't think the question of, let's have a look at his engine over fences. I think it was just a matter of can he jump, and he did that very well. And Paul Townend was very, very impressed with his jumping. So I think if you pair those two together, his grade 1 hurdling performances from last year, so his engine and his kind of raw talent, and you pair that with his jumping on his first start over fences, I think you've got a real serious contender.
Yeah, he tried to hold on to. He was then aggressively ridden, like say, I don't know if Paul Townend could hold on to him. But another one that was aggressively ridden was Grey Dawning, impressively winning at Haydock, having had a run already at Exeter. Frankie, you napped him. You must have been loving seeing that beautiful grey coming down the home straight clear.
I was, yeah. It's nice when the naps win like that. Another horse that jumped well as well, and yeah, won really well. I think, and the reason I napped him is the reason I don't know if I'd be getting overly carried away, and that was because, as we mentioned, Garden Mill was never really going to win it that trip, and Appleway was having first start of fences and first start of the season. So the reason that it was a good bet at the weekend might be the reason why he's maybe not one to get overexcited about, because he did have things in his favour against the field.
He did. Turners or Broadway contender, Joel?
Well, I think I've got the winner of the Turners. And I'm probably jumping around here. It's the second one in the notebook, right? It's the second one in the notebook, and we can talk about it. It's the only bet I've had this week, right? And if you want me to leave now, I will leave now because one that's knocking on. I've backed Classical Dream at 25-1 for the Turners.
Ooh. Go 3 miles. Go to Brown Advisory, wouldn't it? And you just said the best novice performance is Gaelic Warrior, who should win the Turners.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Browns. You've gone the wrong way around, haven't you?
Browns. Sorry, Browns. Can you say Browns?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So Gaelic Warrior for the Turners, Classical Dream for the Brown Advisory.
Yeah. Thanks for calling. To be fair, it's still the ARC or the RSA and the JLT, isn't it? Let's keep it simple. All these different name changes. The 2.5, so Classical Dream for the 3 miler, Gaelic Warrior for the 2.5 mile is what you're saying. Where does Grey Dawning fit into it, Joel?
I haven't a clue. Speak to Frankie. He's your man. He was massively over this. He's not had a winning nap for about 6 years, has he? So he was all over it. He saw it was grey. He saw it was running towards him. It was like when he hangs around Mecca Bingo on a night, and that grey comes running towards him, saying, "Oh, Frankie." So where are you going, Frankie? You're better at Grey Dawning than me.
3 miler, surely. Brown Advisory, I think.
Step right. So
go on then. Make your case for Classical Dream, Joel. I was taken with him actually. I mean, I know he's a long odds-on favourite, but again, you mentioned Gaelic Warrior. Classical Dream put in a much more assured jumping performance, I thought. I don't think he touched a twig. He looked fantastic.
He's obviously had his issues over the past couple of years, and they've taken the time to get him over fences. I made just little notes of like being foot perfect, and if he wasn't, was he 9 coming on 10? I was just so impressed with a lot of horses you've seen. You go, he could brush up his jumping, he could do this a little bit better, he could do that a little bit better. When you see one like that, it's visually really, really good. You go, where do I think it's going? Brown Advisory, or whatever it's called nowadays, the Kazoo Championship or something. I just thought, I was just very, very impressed with that. That's by me. So when you see somebody who's really pretty, and you just go, oh, she's really pretty, or he's really pretty, or they are really pretty.
Cover all bases nowadays. On the other hand, Frankie, you've got Florian Porter, who I know they were saying about right-handed, has to go right-handed, but that looked to me more of a problem. The way he was hanging left, I'm not sure if anything else come to light as yet. I know they were just saying he needs to go the other way around, but he really did not want to go forward, anything but at the weekend. That's going to be a big concern, hasn't it?
Yeah, you've got your right and your left mixed up there, haven't you? He wants to go left-handed. Or maybe I am actually thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, frustrating one. After Cheltenham, I probably would have, if I wasn't at a wedding, might have had a bet on Florian Porter, and I'm glad I didn't because, jumping just completely let him down. And it's hard to take too much away from that because if he does jump better, it'll just be a whole different picture. And I don't, you're not necessarily grabbing it as a bad performance in terms of his ability. It was just that he was just jumping the complete wrong way and killed his chances really via that. So interesting to see where he goes next and how he jumps next time. But he's certainly still in the frame for the festival for me. Just because if you get that right, then he has won round Cheltenham plenty of times over hurdles, and he did win nicely at Cheltenham on his debut over fences. So he's still in the frame. They've just got to decide what to do between now and then.
One race I want to discuss. Yes, Joel, sorry, before I do.
No, if Florian Porter's hanging left and Gaelic Warren right, surely we could put in the same race and then straighten each other out. And one question, I don't know if anything's come out of this yet, Acts Affordable Fury in that race. So when I saw that Florian Porter was not going, I was like, oh, well, here we are, and went well odds on him running. But Sam Ewing spent pretty much the entire race looking down. I don't know who he's looking at, and I don't know if anything's come out of it. I couldn't find anything this morning, and then finished off fairly well.
He did. I noticed that he was quite slow over the last, but he was looking down, wasn't he, on the back straight? And I thought he was going to be pulled up, but he kept him going and he got into contention. But nothing to say has come to light about that either. Look, the novice status division at this stage, what are we, end of November, of course, is wide open. There's just one race that I want to discuss as well from October's Cheltenham, because Frankie discussed this to us off air. And that was the win of Encanto Bruno. You say now it looked a really good race on the clock, and it's working out form-wise as well. The second, Mel Munro, was beaten next time. I would have put up a massive performance against Croke Park over in Ireland. The fourth home has come out and won. The sixth home, Isaac de Zobo, has come out and won very easily as well. And even the one that was tailed off last ran a really good second at a big price at Catterick. So it's a race that the form's starting to work out in that one, Frankie.
It is. Has Cromwell given any clues to where he's going next?
Well, that was 2.5, was it? It's 25 for the Ballymore. I know he ran in the bumper. It looks like a step up in trip, though. 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be good. As I think I mentioned when we talked about the times, he was really fancied even for the bumper, or at least it talked about horse. Like, you hear those rumours around the bumper horses, and when you go into all these young horses coming through, he was on that list. And I suppose he slipped under the radar because he was 10th or 12th. He was down the field in the bumper. He underperformed. But when he's got things right, and as he's progressing, I think he's showing that early hype, definitely. And yeah, the time was good. The horses in behind have won. He certainly is one of their horses they're most excited about. So yeah, I certainly think he's one to keep on your radar. And a big price each way bet, wouldn't be the worst idea, because if he does keep progressing as he is and he goes and wins another race nicely, then he'll be shorter.
Yeah, certainly. There's a couple of interesting ones. I know Joel's got his note, but they've caught my eye. He's one of them, 25 for the Ballymore. GPR1, similar price for the Arkle as well. I thought he was going to win easy the other day when I think he had loads left. He overjumped at the last. So we're just starting to build, a couple of big prices. I mean, you can keep your 5-2s and your 4-1s about some of these 5 months on, but there's a couple of interesting ones at big prices already. Anything else from the weekend? I'll start with you, Joel. Anything else that we haven't discussed that really caught your eye that you'd like to keep your eye on in the coming months?
No, I think I really like that horse. It was my nap for the weekend that dead heated for third. The Skelton horse. What the hell was it called? The new colours. I thought Harry Skelton was really good at Haydock at the weekend as well. Well, it was really good in everything. It was just the fact that Protector Rat was no good. I thought he was really, really good. And Dan wasn't up for chatting to anybody after that race. Standing, having a drink, and I wanted to get in there, but he did mention Lanzarote. So I know it's not the lumber to Lanzarote hurdle or whatever, but that was for me. It stayed on. It looked like a non-try. It stayed on, and that was that. Apart from that, I saw it all at Haydock. Really enjoyed it. Brilliant day's racing. I just don't know where Shishkin's going to go on his holidays. I mean, let's face it. I don't know why he's going to Newcastle. Didn't they always used to send the nutters to Polygundry? Didn't they? It was, wasn't it?
Continue.
Yeah. I think I said last week on the Punter's Guide, if it was the boyfriend of Goshen, who also had a shocker at the weekend, Shishkin and Goshen would have so much fun together. They would match in a horsey version of Tinder. But no, I really enjoyed the coverage all weekend, and I knew how it was going to go yesterday in Ireland, because as soon as that 1-2-8 shot got beat, you knew where it was going from here. The next 4 will win. No, the next 3 will win. No, they're not. Balls.
Yeah, so the one we haven't talked about Tully Hill getting beaten as well, of course. But Frankie, I know you were at your brother's wedding. Did you manage to catch anything else that caught your eye?
A frustrating one, which we could have been close to triple napping, so I'm glad we didn't. But I am sure backers of Crambo would be frustrated. Finished so well after getting in all sorts of bother and being given too much to do on the winner, and will probably now go up in rating and find it hard in his next handicap effort. So I think Crambo is a frustrating one, to say the least, if you backed him. 2 to get in. I'm probably skipping your next question, Matt. You're going to ask us about this weekend. But obviously on the Punter's Guide, we usually record and get it out on the Friday for the Saturday. But my first anti-post bet has gone in on Jericho de Reponnet for the Supreme, which, fingers crossed, should run in the first at Newbury on Friday, the race that John Bon won. About 16-1 for the Supreme. Lots of hype. Henderson was very, very coy when speaking to him at the Newbury Gallops morning. Really didn't want to give a whole lot away, but he did hint at the fact that he was fit and ready to go for this maiden hurdle on Friday. So if he goes and wins, as John Bond did, he'd be half the price for the Supreme. So there's one that I have had a bet on. And then the other thing that came of that morning, Sail Away, was supposed to, or talked about as going for the Hennessy, but Dan said he thinks we'll run in the 2.5 mile handicap chase on the Friday as well. So who knows what price Jericho will go off for Friday, but in the first and the 225, there's 2 to look out for there, and 1 I've backed for the festival.
Yeah, nice. Bit of long range stuff, Joel.
Yeah, I know we're not a showbiz show and showbiz news. The only other rumour that I heard at the weekend was, I reckon we've got a chance at this Prestbury Cup this time, because you got Brian who's going out with Paddy Mullins, and then somebody told me at the weekend that Megan Nichols was now with David Mullins.
Oh, Joel, man on the ground, rumours.
man on the ground, and there is a rumour that Frankie is now with Margaret Mullins. That's just a rumour.
That's a separate show. We've got Punter's Guide, Road to Cheltenham, and Racing Rumours.
Yeah. And Racehorse Tinder as well.
One more, actually. Getting excited for the weekend. Love Envoy. That was my shout at the start of the year, wasn't it, for the Mares Hurdle? I think I'm excited to see how she'll run behind Constitution, I'm sure. But if she puts in a good performance, I'd be getting even more keen about the Mares Hurdle. Joel's giggling away because I've said behind Constitution Hill. You're a child.
No, it's just, you couldn't just say, I can't wait to see her run. You have to say behind Constitution Hill. You know what I mean?
Well, it will be. And I'm not hinting at the fact that she might win at the weekend. She won't.
Well,
so I've got to get that in there. Otherwise,
no. Listen, Henderson's in flying form. He's got one that didn't start, and he got beat in a 2-horse race today and a 1-7 shot with £30 in hand. But apart from that, I think it's first street. Apart from that, he's flying behind Constitution Hill.
Yes, all become clear this weekend. Great weekend. We're going to look forward to that as well on Friday. Hopefully a few tidbits then for Cheltenham for you. But I say we'll certainly be having a look at some of the big races. Certainly the Champion Hurdle, depending on what Constitution Hill and Impere Pass can do this weekend. So don't forget, you can watch us here on YouTube. You can listen to us as well on Spotify, so you don't have to look at me and Joel's ugly mug, but you might want to catch Frankie's beautiful face. Over on Spotify, you can listen to us, as I say, every Monday as we build up Cheltenham, every Friday with your weekend tipping as well. And to be fair to the lads, they have been in good form over the last few weeks. So make sure you join us Friday between now and then. The best of luck, whatever you're backing.